Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the City of Opa-locka workshop, February 27th. The time is now 6:07. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Here.
Mayor Taylor,
Here.
and just for the record, Mr. Mayor, Commissioner Williams has joined the meeting virtually.
Okay. As we stand for the invocation. God, we thank you for bringing us together one more time in your name. God, we ask that you come upon us as we do your work for your people. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. The Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We're going to open up for public comments. Madam Clerk, do we have any virtual participation for public comments?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, public comments is open. Hearing none, seeing none, public comments is closed. We're going to go into our discussion items. The first discussion item is the financial oversight of the city of Opa-locka. The reason why we called this workshop, as everyone is aware, the city of Opa-locka traveled to Tallahassee this past weekend to discuss with JLAC and the Auditor General's office on the financial oversight status of the city. A couple things came up, but I must say that they acknowledge that the city is in a great place. And what we realized is that there was just simply a lack of communication on both sides. So once we went up and explained where we were, what we were doing, and where we expected to go, we came to a mutual agreement of understanding. So what I want to do is allow the manager to briefly speak on what we discussed. And if we have any questions from the commission, we would take them during that time. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I'll start with the feedback that we received from the JLAC team, as well as the legislators and the committee members, that they just want to see the city of Opa-locka make financial oversight a priority by the commission and by the administration to continue to focus on our financial needs, our financial efficiencies. So that was certainly an overarching comment through the meetings. The next, we'll go through if there's no questions on that. Next, we'll proceed with the 99 findings. This was the easiest to tackle, as we were able to easily communicate to the committee members the work that we've done on both sides, both with the JLAG team that was actually here today and the administration. We've continually made great progress on the 99 findings. We expect to get their response back on our submissions within the coming week. We have implemented from the administration side 66 of the 99 findings. And we're waiting to get their analysis on all or part of that, and are looking to move forward on the next 30 or so findings. So the report that we received, that this is the greatest progress that the city of Opa-locka has made since we have been under financial oversight. Those were the words that came from the senior inspector general and also the auditor general, that this is the greatest progress the city of Opa-locka has made since the 99 findings originally came out. And he anticipates, his words, not mine, he anticipates that he will not have to come here much longer. I'll take any questions that the commission may have on the 99 findings. Fantastic. Next, I'll discuss the ERP system. That was a hot topic of discussion in Tallahassee, as well as there was a rumor that Opa-locka was not moving forward with the digitization of its city, particularly in our finance department. Nothing can be further from the truth. We have been working with Tyler Technologies for some period of time. As you are aware, the commission approved a $1.8 million contract last year to proceed with the implementation of the ERP system to digitize all of the departments. We were originally told that digitization could proceed without the implementation with the accessibility of current audits. And so the plan was to start with less financially heavy data departments such as human resources, and then move on to code enforcement and building and license. Well, we learned very, very quickly as we began to go through the onboarding process that current financial data was needed in order to implement this system. So as Tyler Technologies began asking for this data, as you all are aware, we're several years behind still in our submission of our audits. So the city was not able to provide them with current financial data. Therefore, we came to the discussion to pause until October of this year, the implementation of the ERP system. Very much needed. But during that time, we are working with our internal audit team, Anthony Brunson, PA, to assist us with finding a system that we can utilize while we are going through our audits. So that's where we are with the ERP system. And just to give a little flavor of how it's needed, I want to give acknowledgement to our finance department on the great work that they have done and under the conditions that they have done it. We're working on a current system called SunGuard. SunGuard was purchased in 2017. And since 2017, the city of Opa-locka has not been able to receive updates or technical support on the SunGuard system. So anytime something goes awry, our IT team has to fix it. Anytime an update is needed, our finance department has to do a workaround. What has that workaround looked like? Well, the SunGuard system can only stay open for 2 years. So given that we're behind in the submission of our audits, our finance department, which was just currently rebuilt and new, with our first finance director in 5 years, we are doing journal entries on Excel spreadsheets. So what does that mean? That's 1,200 entries per day on average that the city of Opa-locka has to manually input. And the finance department has been able to do that, keep up, and actually progress to the point where we are now. And so when we were able to show the JLAG team the work that our finance department has done or the conditions that they've done it in, they were simply blown away. They were simply blown away. There was no other way to state it. And I'm amazed by them every day, by the work that they're accomplishing and continue to do under the conditions that they are. So we're going to continue to work with the Brunson team to get a system that will get implemented, that will get us moving forward. And I'll take any questions that the commission may have on the ERP system.
Thank you. Can you tell me what, excuse my ignorance, but what is the ERP system? I don't know.
That's actually a great question, Vice Mayor. So the ERP system is just a software platform that allows all of the departments to communicate and work together. And it also allows departments to be digitized. So once we have an ERP system in place, our residents will be able to go online to pay for their license. Residents will be able to go online to pay for their permits. I'll be able to go online to look at disciplinary action for an employee, and our human resources department, that accessibility will be online. It's a way to just bring the city of Opa-locka into the 21st century. That was one of the initiatives that I launched in April of last year, was to digitize the city of Opa-locka to make everything more accessible to our residents and easier for them to use. And finance department is a key component of that, because so many things are run by our finance. Even when we went to looking at implementing the police department, that ended up being a finance heavy department, as there's searches, there's seizures, there's equipment purchases that are, six-figure expenditures that have to be tracked. So finance drives many of the departments, and the ERP system puts it all together.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So if there's no more questions on the ERP system, I will next cover the audit submission plan. And at this time, if anyone needs a copy of the audit submission plan, we actually have those for you as well. Okay. Oh. No. Oh, we only have 3. So the audit submission plan is the plan that we originally prepared last summer. And I believe it was June when this plan was first submitted to the commission by my office through email. And it's really looking at the steps that we need to take in order to get our audits on time. So in order to have that discussion, we need to have an understanding of where we are and how did we get there. So if you look at that first chart that starts with year, date submitted, months past due, and months lapsed, that really gives us a very, very clear picture of the challenges that we faced and how we got there. So the last time that the city of Opa-locka submitted a timely audit was June 26, 2015. That was the last time that we submitted an audit on time. We then went almost 3 years before we submitted another audit. So we went from 2015 to February 23rd, 2018, before we submitted another audit. So that created a very, very deep hole that we've been working to get out from under for quite some period now and quite some time. So the next audit, and as you can see here by the table, on average, it takes the city of Opa-locka 14 months to submit an audit. And so we tend to stay 14 months behind, actually 14.5 months. So about a year and 2.5 months, we stay behind in our audits. So it was necessary for us to put together a plan. As many of you are aware, one of the first criteria for the city to remove itself, to be removed from financial oversight is timely submission of the audits. So it was important that we submit a plan that positioned the city so that we could submit our audits on time. Now, we have a lot of challenges that we had to address with this plan. First of all, we didn't have a finance department, right? So the first thing that we needed to do is to rebuild our finance department. And we initiated that by first hiring our first finance director in over 5 years, Ms. Naima Walker. Since then, we've hired a senior accountant and some other positions. We are still hiring. We have 2 accountant positions open and 1 senior accountant position open as well. So we are continuing to do the work to rebuild our finance department. And that's a key component to allowing the city to move forward with timely submission of its audits. So that step is incomplete, but it's well on our way. Our next task is to engage an internal financial services firm. So the previous firm that we had before, Tri-Merge, was providing services both as our finance department and our internal audit department, which was a very heavy lift, doing both all of the daily financial activities of the city, as well as doing the internal audit work to prepare the financial reports to be turned over to the external auditor. So we needed to find a way to move further and faster. So the goal was to split up those tasks, rebuild our finance department, and either move forward with Tri-Merge if they would like to, as our internal audit firm, which is what they were originally hired for, or bring in another firm if they no longer wanted to move forward in just that capacity. So after having had that conversation with Tri-Merge, we were able to engage Anthony Brunson, PA, as our internal audit firm. Anthony Brunson's team is a highly reputable team that had worked with the city of Opa-locka before, understood some of the challenges we faced, with the SunGuard system, with our Excel spreadsheets, with our journal entries. And so they were able to hit the ground running after agreeing to engage the city of Opa-locka again. And so that task, I'm happy to say, is complete. Next, we had to engage an external auditing team. This was actually work that was done before I was appointed as interim city manager. The Markham team was engaged as our external audit team, and we're continuing to move forward with them. They've been doing excellent work, and they're also a very, very reputable firm. Generally speaking, from the time that we submit our internal audited reports to Markham, they turn them around in 90 days. So we're very, very happy to continue to be working with them. The next task is to develop budgets for audit completion. So with the importance of timely submission of our annual financial reports at the forefront, the city has budgeted for completion of each of its outstanding AFRs, annual financial reports. So for fiscal 2021, the city of Opa-locka budgeted $500,000 plus external audit expenses and employee salaries for completion. We're looking at another budgeted item of $750,000 to complete our fiscal 2022. And that excludes external audit expenses such as Markham and employee salaries. And then to complete our fiscal 2023, we are budgeted another $750,000 plus external audit expenses and employee salaries. Now, considering the work that we are doing and accomplishing and the time frame that we're accomplishing in, this is a heavy, heavy, heavy lift, and this is an incredibly negotiated price. Why do I say that, Mr. Mayor? I say that because the city of Opa-locka is on its way, is on track to submit our 2021 audit by June of this year and submit our 2022 audit by December of this year. That means that we will have completed 2 audits in 12 months and 3 audits in a year and a half, which is just simply phenomenal, outstanding, and not something that's commonplace. Yes, Mr. Mayor.
The only thing I want to add to what the manager just said, speaking with JLAC, we're going to be on time by December. And what JLAC has expressed to the city, that we must be in compliance by the end of this year. With no sad story, nothing bad, but we have to be, they want the city in compliance by the end of this year. And once we are in compliance by the end of this year, we will, for the first time, submit an on-time audit in June of 2023. So that's why you see what you see on this paper. So JLAC has made it clear to us, by December, the city of Opa-locka has to come into compliance. All outstanding audits have to be submitted. I just wanted to let y'all, that's why the manager stated that JLAC said we have to make sure that the conversation that we're having on this dais is financial oversight at all times. They want to know that we are putting the city's finances in the forefront and ensuring that we are timely and ready and will be in compliance by the end of the year. Go ahead, Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That is absolutely correct. That conversation, it was almost if it was a one mind and one accord. We had several of 8 different meetings, and that comment came up in every single meeting. That it's been quite some time that the city has been under financial oversight. It has been quite some time since as we all know, since we have submitted an audited financial report on time, and the bandwidth for additional extensions has been expended.
It's been exhausted.
Exhausted. It's done. And that was communicated from several different committee members, legislators, and even the JLAC administration in no uncertain terms. But I'm happy to say that we have a plan. We're executing our plan, and we are on track to make that happen. This is something that the city of Opa-locka started doing in April of last year, began execution in June of last year July of last year with the hiring of Ms. Walker. And we're seeing the success and the fruits of our labors now. So as I stated, we are now working on the submission of the fiscal 2021 annual financial report. We're on track to have that submitted by June 2023. Currently, that's just 7 months after submission of the fiscal 2020 annual financial report, which we submitted in October of last year. The city and the Brunson team expect to turn on its internally reviewed reports to the Markham team the first week in March. That's just next week. The Markham team, as I stated earlier, generally requires about 90 days to complete its external review. So we're well on our way for that June submission. In fact, I dare to say we may be able to submit that report in May. Next up will be the submission of our fiscal year 2022 report, which our target date is December 2023. The city anticipates submitting this report at that time. And this will be a mere 6 months post the submission of our 2021 report. It is with this submission that the city of Opa-locka will be caught up in the submission of its annual financial reports the first time in over 10 years. That would be this December. Yeah, very, very happy to report that. Very, very excited to state that. And I can say that this is something that the people in Tallahassee are very much looking forward to. It is at this time in the report that every single time that we were able to state this, the room would just go silent. And they would just look at us like, did you just really say that? Yes, we really just said that. So we're going to deliver, and we're very, very excited and happy to do so. And next, we are on schedule to submit our fiscal 2023 report by June 2024. And annual financial reports are always due the following June after the close of the year. So if a year closes out in 2022, it's due June 2023. So we'll be caught up this December. And when we turn in that 2023 report in June 2024, that will be the first time that we will have submitted a timely report in a decade. So we're very, very excited to be moving forward on that. Very, very excited and anticipating hitting that benchmark for the great city of Opa-locka. And it's by meeting this timeline that the city will not only be caught up, but will have its first timely submission in a decade. Again, this is important to the city of Opa-locka because timely submission of your annual financial reports is the first benchmark to being removed from financial oversight. So very, very excited to make this report to the commission and the residents of the great city of Opa-locka. Again, want to acknowledge all the great work that our finance department is doing and open the floor up to questions from the commission or residents.
I don't have, good afternoon, everyone. I don't have any questions. Of course, I'm tardy. Something happened at work I had to take care of. I just want to just say thank you to those who have been working so hard to accomplish this. Every department, the mayors who has been pushing it, past and present. I'm just elated to know that we are finally seeing the end of the tunnel and we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. And I can't wait for December to come when all of this is over and done with and we can move forward in a timely manner. And I am just speechless for words right now because you guys did it. You did it. You did it. And I'm speaking that everything else that we need to work on has already been done. I'm just putting it out there in the atmosphere. And if I was at church, I would say, can I have an amen? Well, there you go. Thank y'all for the amen. And in case you don't know, amen simply means so be it. So again, I'm just elated that we can have this conversation and share what you all came back with from Tallahassee, that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. So thank you all so much.
Thank you, Commissioner. Okay, so moving forward, that takes care of the our audit submission plan. The next thing we're going to discuss is our 5-year recovery plan. 5-year recovery plan was actually a component of the financial oversight, which is really a plan about how are we looking to move out of financial oversight? How are we going to demonstrate to the oversight committee and to our residents how we are going to fiscally manage the city and its assets? So if you look at that first page, there's one thing I want you to know where it says financial fund structure. With the headings of supported funds, operating funds, and capital funds. If you look at all of the operating funds that are in yellow, those are all of the funds that we have in the city of Opa-locka that are now out of deficit. So that is a phenomenal way to read that report. Now, I do want to report and caution that our water and sewer fund, and Mr. Anathan and I go back and forth on this on occasion, is it is out of deficit, but it is it's a thin line. It's a thin line. It can play some stuff, but it can just go put some stuff on it, so to speak. So we are still looking, and if Miami-Dade County officials are listening, we don't want them to get too excited as we're renegotiating our debt plan. That is a positive fund now, but it is a very, very thin surplus. But the takeaway message is that we now can demonstrate on paper that we're being fiscally responsible with our finances and our assets. And so as you pass through the financial recovery plan and you see all of the funds that are in yellow.
Mr. Manager, 1 second.
Yes,
We have a question from Commissioner Williams, who is joining us virtually.
absolutely.
Commissioner Williams, you have the floor.
Oh, good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to join virtually.
1 second, Commissioner Williams. Can you
Okay.
turn? Say it again. Commissioner Williams, he's asking that you talk louder in your microphone because we can barely hear you in the chamber.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Is this better?
Much better.
Okay, I'm sorry, I have my AirPod. Thank you all. Thank you just for allowing me to log on virtually and be a part of the process. And of course, I echo the sentiments of my colleagues. I want to thank just everyone, the manager's office, and everyone that supported the process, including our new financial department. Could not be here without you all. I think I do have a few questions, but I was going to wait for the Mr. Manager to speak, but I will throw out 1 or 2, and maybe it will be answered. I wanted to know, after having spoken to a few of the members that from Tallahassee after the trip, one of the things that I was told was there was not a consistent transparency policy or process that we as a city did not go through. We just were as transparent as possible, which is why a lot of things that were said weren't as fact checked as they could be. So I wanted to know, do we have a plan to make sure that we're always as transparent with Tallahassee and with JLAC as possible? And then my next question is, I do believe, and I would request that we as a board receive quarterly reports of the financials so that we can have these discussions and we're not waiting for an end of the year report or 3-year report, but each quarter that we have those reports. And I believe the mayor before me used to ask for them also with the prior financial team that was there. So I think if we can get back to that on that same page, that would be great as well. And then my last question or comment is those particular departments, because if we're going to audit, we know that the audit team, Mr. Brunson's team, would need to ensure that departments are giving those specific information that they're asking for on a timely basis. So I want to know, and I know you may not know, Manager Williams, what departments are preventing us to have this information on a timely basis? But not only that, what are we and what is the manager's office going to do about those departments that are not keeping up with accurate data tracking, accurate record keeping? And how do we move forward to make sure that our audits and everything is submitted timely? Because we know it's not just based off of, you know, one department, but multiple departments. So those are my questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. So I'll jump right in to your discussions. I'll start from the third and work my way back to the first. So your third comment really touches on the operational audit, which is how are departments tracking their policies and procedures? And that's a very, very important thing. And as we're responding to the 99 findings of the operational audit, in order for that item to be clear, we must demonstrate to them that we have a policy and procedure in place and that we're actually implementing it. So we are working through that phase now, and we are bringing all departments in line with policies and procedures. It is, I will say, a heavy lift. It's a heavy lift. Most cities that are over 100 years or that are over 50 years old, and we're going on 100 years old, usually has a book, you know, as thick as a Bible as far as policies and procedures. And ours is very thin and sometimes non-existent at all. So it is a heavy lift and it's going to take some time. But it is something that we must address and that we are addressing. The next, I'll actually go to your first question, which also touches on policies and procedures, and that's citywide. How do we have in writing a process by which we follow, that administration follows to execute all of the things that we're supposed to do on a daily basis? That is something that has been deficient in this city. That is needed. I suspect once the audits are turned in, that is something that is going to be required of the city of Opa-locka to demonstrate that we have policies and procedures in place for every single department. And that is also going to be a heavy lift. You know, that's going to be something that we're going to have to do some training with our department heads, do some workshops with them, bring in some consultants, get some assistance, get some legal assistance for review of these policies and procedures. And I imagine that's going to take us some time. But it will absolutely be necessary and to do. It is the right thing to do, and I believe it's going to be required of us in order to take the next step out of financial oversight. And your second comment,
The transparency.
transparency. So from the administration side, we keep 100% transparency maintained with Tallahassee and the departments there. Just a perfect example of the operational audit. The field team came out in the third and fourth quarter of last year. We welcomed them to the city of Opa-locka. We met with them with all of our department heads, all 12 department heads and our CRA manager. We allowed them to go through each department and inspect, opened up our books. If they made a request for a policy procedure, if we had it, we provided it to them. And I also gave them access to every single department head. Anytime you want them, anytime you want to have a conversation with them, anytime you want to have a face-to-face meeting with them. So they have been extremely appreciative of that. I was told that not many cities give them that level of access, but I find that it's also been helpful to us. It's been helpful to me as a city manager to know every single deficiency that they can find. It's also been helpful to our department heads that may have been operating without the knowledge of some of the deficiencies that we may have. Sometimes department heads that have been here for some time have learned to make do without certain things, not even knowing. Then you go so long without it, you don't even know you need it. So having a transparent transaction with the operational audit team has been extremely helpful to the city of Opa-locka and extremely helpful to the administration. Along with the Inspector General's office, we also provide 100% transparency with them as well. I provide myself and the department heads access to the Inspector General's office on a bi-weekly basis. We have meetings. They provide us with questions. We submit and answer their questions. And sometimes we discuss action items and implement those action items. So that has been extremely helpful. It has caused a lot of ease. And to the mayor's point, there was a miscommunication, but happily it was not a miscommunication between our administration and the employees that are actually doing the work. It was a matter, so they were able to lock arms with us, actually communicate with the legislator and have discussions with Senator Pizzo and others on the JLAC committee to say, yes, Opa-locka has turned in their work. Opa-locka is communicating with us. And in fact, they took a step further and said, Opa-locka is waiting on us. Opa-locka has responded to all 99 of the findings, and they provided us with so much information that we're now taking our time to analyze what they have submitted to us and provide them with a report for them to respond to. So that level of transparency has been extremely helpful. And we are going to continue to maintain that.
Were all your questions answered, Commissioner Williams?
Yes, thank you so much.
No problem. Mr. Manager, you will continue with the 5-year recovery plan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So on the 5-year recovery plan, just to wrap that up, there's a lot of details about the 5-year recovery plan that is really looking at some of the macro issues of the city of Opa-locka and how we plan to address them. One of the biggest challenges is a decrease in the population, which also is a decrease in the a potential decrease in the tax base. With the Affordable Housing Initiative, that is anticipated to bring in currently over 808 new doors to the city of Opa-locka in a matter of just 36 months. That should not only stabilize our population, but actually provide us with a nice boost that should be helpful to reverse this trend, so that we're a growing city and not a decreasing city. So there are a lot of things that are going to come out of that will remain positive and supportive of the city. And also that will also increase, this brand new construction also increases our property, the value of our property, which also increases our tax base. So as we're able to increase our tax base, we will also see our revenues increase. So those are just some of the minor highlights that you'll find in the 5-year recovery plan. I'll touch on a few more, which it speaks on the goals of, say, our community development department. Mr. Gay has been his vision for a long time to create, turn and transform Opa-locka into a destination, as he says, rather than a pass-through, for it to be a commerce and a place for visitors. So our zoning, his department has reconfigured our zoning for the city to facilitate this growth, to facilitate this change, and I think we're primed and ready to go in that arena. As we are also seeing, our stability and our property values is also starting to take effect. As Mr. Anathan, our budget administrator, can attest to, we saw a significant increase in our property values over the years, over last year. So that, as we can attest that to an industrial increase as well as the increase in our homeowners value. We also have to take on an ongoing renewal of our infrastructure. So and this is a workshop, and I'm going to share information publicly that we do need to have a discussion about our infrastructure. It's not something that we discuss openly, but it's a large bill.
Wait, Mr. Manager, are we done with the first item, which is oversight? And then that's the second.
This is the 5-year recovery plan. I'm finishing.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Sorry.
This is the 5-year recovery plan has goals. So I'm just finishing up the goals of the 5-year recovery plan. And one of them is to address our infrastructure needs. I'll just read the bullet points: beautification, elimination of substandard housing, decreasing crime and creation of a violence-free community, and implementation of Parks and Recreation's master plan, and a reopening of Ingram Park. So those are some of the goals and tenets of the 5-year recovery plan. Some of it's a lot of finances and can be a bit boring, including the property tax base and the debt refinance. We are executing for the first time in the history of Opa-locka, looking at public-private partnerships. That positions the city of Opa-locka to do with private businesses what we don't have the finances to do for ourselves. So I'm very, very excited to be moving that forward. Okay. And I'll take any questions that the commission may have on the 5-year recovery plan.
The, Mr. Manager, the bullet points that you just read off, is that inside of the 5-year recovery plan? We're looking for it. We don't see it. Or is that just something that you have written on your notes?
It should be a page in there that says 5-year plan goals and assumptions. If it's not in there, I'll make sure I'll get you that sheet. Okay. Yeah. I'll make sure I get you the sheet.
Okay, thank you.
My apologies that this new copy doesn't have
Oh,
it in
well,
there.
okay, I think I see it. 5-year plan assumptions.
Okay,
But it's not everything. Okay,
all right.
any questions as it relates to the financial oversight of this city? The audits, any questions? No questions. Okay, so that was discussion item number 1. Moving to discussion item number 2, which is city affairs. It's a broad subject. We wanted to talk about on this one, some of the things that were discussed in Tallahassee was the appropriations of the city, pretty much what we asked for. One of the things that came up was Cairo Lane, and we had a meeting with FDP, and what they're going to do is help the city find grants to finally complete Cairo Lane. Mr. Manager, can you please speak on the SRF grant and the revolving loan fund?
Absolutely, Mr. Mayor. For the employees that are permanent employees based in Tallahassee, they've been working with the city of Opa-locka for quite some time, and they are very, very eager to see Carol Lane completed. Some of them have been looking at this project long before I was even here as assistant city manager. So that was a first discussion. So luckily, the city of Opa-locka did submit an appropriations package for Carol Lane. And we even took a step further when we went to Tallahassee, not only meeting with legislators to discuss the funding needed for Carol Lane, but also we met with the secretary for FDEP, and we had an extensive conversation about grants, availables, and strategies to get additional funding to complete Carol Lane. He supported us in the submission of our resiliency grant, which we've been preparing to execute through our finance department, our budget department, and also our capital improvement project. So we were on the same page there. We also had a discussion about the SRF loan, state revolving fund loan. And we've been getting some pushback on getting that approved as we move forward through that process. The secretary of FDP stated that he would link arms with us, have meetings with the department approving the SRF loans so that we could get that money. So that was a very, very successful meeting regarding Carol Lane and that appropriations package.
And the next, any questions on that appropriations package for Cairo Lane? The next topic that came up was the Opa-locka police station. And where we're going with it, which was a very positive conversation. They're understanding that they gave us money to demolish the police station, which we're currently doing now, I believe, which is set to be completed by when, Mr.
Within the next 30 days.
Within the next 30 days. But what they said was, once the police station is demolished, where's the police going? So we told them temporarily that the police station will be housed in this building on the first floor. But what they really want is to see Opa-locka have its own standalone police station. So we talked about funding that we're trying to pull down to actually, after that temporary fix is done in the future, house and put our police station in their own space, Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So they commended the city of Opa-locka on all that we've done to support our police department. The police department is full of supporters in Tallahassee, and they are paying attention. They have paid attention to the PBA contract we just executed, the raises that we provided to our police officers to make us more competitive, and they were ready to jump in and support the city of Opa-locka. And we were not shy. I was very clear on we need at least $10 million for the police station that is worthy of our police officers. And we need $12 million if it's the police station that the city manager wants. So we were not shy about our ask. We were supposed to receive $5 million last year. That appropriation got reduced to $1.1 million last year. 800,000 of that we utilized for the demolition of our current police station. And then the excess we went to re-outfitting our current location on the first floor for the police station. We are now looking to partner with our supporters in Tallahassee, as the mayor has stated, to secure the additional funding that we need to get our own self-standing police station as our officers deserve it.
Okay, and also in appropriations, water and sewer and infrastructure came up when it came down to the city of Opa-locka and its flooding issues. So that was a conversation that we also had with FDEP, and we told them that we pretty much explained that Opa-locka was lined with temporary pipes in the 60s, and they have not been dug up and replaced since then. So, Mr. Manager, please speak on that as well, and then we're going to move right along.
Absolutely, Mr. Mayor. So a lot of people aren't aware that in the 60s, temporary clay pipes were installed into the ground to support our water infrastructure. And for many places in areas of Opa-locka, those pipes are still in the ground today. What does that mean? That means for every 100 gallons that I push from one location, I get 60 gallons of water at the other end. There's a lot of negative implications to that. One, we're paying for water that seeps into the ground. Number two, that water makes increases the water percentage in our water table. That means where other places in Miami-Dade County where you might have to dig 5 feet, go down 5 feet before you can hit water. And Opa-locka, because our grounds are so saturated with water, there are many places in Opa-locka where all you have to dig is 2 feet before you hit water. And that's a problem. It's a problem for our drainage. It's a problem for our stormwater. It causes issues with flooding, and it's something that we need to address. The total bill for overhaul of the city's water infrastructure is close to $100 million. So that's not a number that I share frequently, but it's something that now that the mayor has called this workshop and we're getting serious, is something we need to understand, and it's something that we need to discuss and begin to plan for. What the city administration has done is to just take one bite at a time. We received $8 million from ARPA funds, and we took $6 million of that to start taking some bites onto our water infrastructure so that we can start addressing the flooding, both in residential and commercial, that really impacts our businesses and really impacts our residents and our quality of life. We did get a lot of support from Tallahassee. They're willing to, again, look at our appropriations package to support our brand new pump stations and the replacements of our pump station, and also address our infrastructure. So that's something that we want to also keep in the forefront.
Any questions on the appropriations packet that we submitted to Tallahassee?
I just wanted to ask the manager, he stated about the monies that was requested for the police department. And I know it's a process, but are we looking towards a date that we can somewhat hear from them and know where we're moving with it?
Yes, that was a conversation that we had. Specifically, Senator Caruso, who's very supportive of our police department, is looking for a January timeframe to actually execute something on our behalf.
So in other words, Dr. Bass, Commissioner Bass, it's not gonna happen tomorrow. It has to go before the legislators first. So we're looking at you gotta give us some time. But he's committed to actually supporting it. All right, and so that's it on the appropriations. The last but not least is we had a meeting this morning with the two assistant directors from WASD in regards to Pump Station 300. So I'm gonna also let the manager discuss that with everyone. I see he was in the meeting this morning. And let him discuss that, and so we could get an update on Pump Station 300 and where we are with that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this was a meeting that was set up by Mayor Taylor. We were very excited to have this meeting. This is an issue that I've been bringing to as city manager, as your interim city manager. I've been bringing to the county since close to 10 months now. I've got contemporaneous documentation of when Pump Station 300 does not accept the effluent from the city of Opa-locka, and what is the county going to do about it? It's been since 2015 that we've been having issues with effluent in the city of Opa-locka. In fact, in 2015, we actually had raw sewage on the streets when Pump Station 300 had an overflow. And it's been going on so long that I've noticed both at the county level and even among our residents, a level of complacency. Like, this is just how it is here. And they don't even remember when it wasn't like that anymore. Well, there was a time when it wasn't like that. And if it never was, that no one should have to deal with every single time it rains, not being able to flush your toilet or having issues, with drainage in your shower. So that is something that, I have been very vocal about at the county level. And the mayor has stepped in and addressed the county mayor's office. And we had a very, very productive meeting with our director of public works and our assistant city manager and our public works department and team this morning. We were able to identify issues on both sides with Pump Station 300, with our I and the things that we're doing and implementing. But what was overarching is one, that the city of Opa-locka is on the move. There was a time where we had infiltration in our system of 60%. We now have our infiltration down to 15%. That is such a dramatic drop that the Miami-Dade County Water and Sewer Department is considering doing some acknowledgement for Opa-locka for all the work that it's done. And I'd like to acknowledge our Director of Public Works and our Public Works team for all the efforts and hard work that they've done in making that happen. It is truly just a phenomenal turnaround to go from 60% to 15%. They were so unbelievable of those numbers that they wanted to keep checking them over and over again, because as they stated, that's just not something that they see every day. From the city of Opa-locka's end, we're looking at installation of our flow meters, which is going to be necessary, and also doing some aggressive I&I, which means getting the smart manhole covers, which are not cheap, but will alert us. One of the things that is a challenge for the city, and this goes out to our residents and our business owners, is the damage that you create to the system when, say, for instance, if your neighborhood, you feel like it's flooding and it's not draining fast enough, that you break open a manhole cover thinking that you're going to get the water off the streets faster. Those are separate lines. There's a reason why that manhole cover is there, and it's actually to protect our system. And when you open up that manhole cover, you can actually cause things that are not supposed to be down there to break very, very important and crucial systems that actually makes it a lot worse. And those manhole covers also have not only access to our systems, but to the Miami-Dade County system as well. So keeping our manhole covers protected and closed during the rainy season or during periods of rain is something that we need to, as a community, as a city, make sure that it happens. So if you see a manhole cover opened or someone opened a manhole cover, please contact the police department. Please contact the city administration, because this is something that is going to impact all of us as we're trying to move the city forward. On the county side, and I'm going to just go ahead and put this out there, due to the conversation that we were able to have, there were some issues with the billing. And we're now looking, as a result of that conversation that was facilitated by the mayor, the administration is looking to move forward on an $800,000 reduction in our water bill. Yeah, so we're very excited about that as well.
Okay, so any questions on
Just
pump
two.
station 300?
Just two.
Commissioner Bath?
Just quickly, the location for pump station 300. What is it?
I think it's 32nd
Yes,
Avenue, 127th Street or?
absolutely. It is
Okay.
32nd,
You know your stuff.
32nd,
38th, okay, 38th
Oh.
Avenue. 30th.
30th.
Okay, so I was 32nd Avenue, 2 blocks away. Go
Okay.
on.
Okay, tell me, what is it again?
30th Avenue and 127th Street.
Okay,
Is that right? 30.
okay, 30. Next question. You said something about a manhole, a different one, a different kind?
Yes, so we are now implementing smart manhole covers so that if someone tries to lift them, we get an alert. So it also monitors the depth. So the minute someone lifts one of those manhole covers, we'll be made aware that that's happening.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
And that's why he said to all of our residents, if you see somebody digging in one of those manholes, let us know, contact the police station, contact City Hall so that we can deal with it because that's what's messing up. One of the things that is messing up our system that we found out on this morning. So with that, any other questions from the commission on any item? We don't normally do this. Anyone else? We good? Okay. So we're gonna go ready to go home, but I just want to say thank you to,
We're done.
You can stay here a little while longer by yourself, but we're going home. I want to say thank you to Senator Chevron Jones and Representative Ashley Gant for helping and walking us, hand holding our hand and walking us to each office while we were in Tallahassee to meet with these key people in order for us to get answers and for Opa-locka to tell their story. So we thank our Senator Chevron Jones and our State Representative Ashley Gant for helping us through this process this weekend. So with all that being said, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Bass, second by Vice Mayor. Good night to the staff. Thank you for everything that you do. And
Thank
we
you.
appreciate all of the hard work. And thank you, and we'll see you at another time.